Alright, and now here we are, the last part of the game. The Dutchman Ship. We're going to free all of our buddies from the Dutchman's dastardly magic. And then, yeah, you don't see it with Squidward, but then they float away and go on to this dinghy boat that's floating around. This part really confused me when I was a child. That's kind of a thing that, like, that's kind of a recurring theme with games when I was a kid, was that by the end I was just kind of flailing and trying to get to the end. I wasn't playing methodically, I didn't really understand what was going on. I don't know. The more that I play these games as an adult, the more I think maybe I was just a really stupid kid. Like, I thought, when I was a kid, I thought I was smart. Like, I was actually, like, I was kind of cocky as a kid. I don't think I was, like, outward about it. I don't think I came off as, like, arrogant. At least people never acted that way or said that I was. And I didn't really have a reputation for it. And trust me, people had no problem telling me what flaws I had when I was a child. But, I don't know. I thought I was pretty smart. And I guess in some ways I was, but in other ways I was a really big, dumb idiot. So, and I get one of those ways with video games, I guess. But anyway, but yeah, this is the part. I'm stupidly trying to get all the doubloons, even though it literally could not matter less at this point in the game. You only have to get 75 doubloons to get the letter tile in this. Which, P.S., I wrote this down to talk about a while ago in this LP, and I've not found the time to mention it, or I keep forgetting to mention it. Why does SpongeBob need to collect all the letter tiles and the treasures? Like, I know he needs the treasures to protect himself against the Dutchman's powers, so that he can go get Gary. But, like, I don't know what the tiles are supposed to mean for that. Like, did the Dutchman put them there? Is it just, like, a visualization for the game? For, like, SpongeBob figuring out where the treasure is? Even though they're literally, like, above ground in places that you've been before? I don't know. And then, like, I don't know. This is just one of those questions. I'm not saying this is, like, a flaw. It's just, you know, one of those video game things where it's like, you know, why didn't the Dutchman hypnotize SpongeBob after Gary before he could get all the treasures? Because, I mean, the implication is that if he didn't have all of the treasures, then he couldn't go here. I mean, he also couldn't go here, I guess, because the Dutchman Ship hadn't gotten here yet. Was the Dutchman Ship on course for SpongeBob's house? I don't know.
Go get him, SpongeBob!
'Cause, I mean, like, I guess like, the golden spatulas in Battle for Bikini Bottom were mostly arbitrary and unexplained. Like, why does having 70 golden spatulas mean you can open the door to the Chum Bucket kitchen? And I mean, yeah, it's arbitrary just like anything else like that in a video game, but I mean, their purpose in advancing the game was still pretty clear and, like, uncomplicated. Just like, if you get them, then you can go into the next area. Whereas with this, it's like, you need to get the treasure so that you can go to the Dutchman, and to get the treasure, you gotta get all the letter tiles, and you gotta put the letter tiles together in your head. And I don't know, it's always been very strange for me, but whatever. SpongeBob looks very smooth here.
I'll wipe the deck with you, Sponge.
Psst. Hello? I do not recommend that you antagonize him right now.
Who's afraid of the big bad Dutchman?
You don't understand. The book you borrowed from Squidward was not completely accurate. In fact, it was a little out of date.
Uh-oh.
According to the new edition, the treasures you gathered have made you mostly immune to the Dutchman's powers, but not completely immune. So be ready.
I wonder what that little, like, bell sound is that always happens when the Dutchman's around. I don't get it.
You don't stand a chance, SquarePants.
Once again, reusing a line that you hear earlier. Yeah, I don't know, that part always struck me as, like, very arbitrary, and, like, it's not a Deus Ex Machina, because that's not what that is. but it's just kind of randomly like, you know, you get all these. This is what I mean when I say the dynamic of the treasures being the thing that you need to advance in the game kind of doesn't make as much sense, or is just kind of like overly complicated and arbitrary to me, because it's like, okay, now I have all the treasures so the Dutchman can't hurt me, but we need to have a Flying Dutchman boss fight at the end because that's the whole point of the fucking game. And so just at the very end, the narrator goes like, oh yeah, that book wasn't correct, like, you still can get hurt. And it's like, well, did you know that before? Who is this narrator who has information, who's apparently read the next edition of How to Defeat Evil Spirits? Like, I don't know, it's just, you know, I understand it's a video game, not everything has to make sense about how you advance in the game, because, you know, there's nothing analogous to it in real life, but again, at least with, like, the golden spatula stuff, or the tokens in the movie game, because the tokens are, you know, you literally can't advance without knowing a certain move, and Mindy, for some reason, her magical powers are like Chuck E. Cheese games, and you need to have tokens to pay her to teach you how. Yeah, and the best part is some of the moves, they range from, like, having a magical guitar gun to just being able to flop down on your ass. Video games are funny. But anyway, yeah, this is the Dutchman boss fight. It's pretty easy. Just stay moving around so all of his little boys can't touch you, and then pick up the things. The only thing is that your depth perception is really weird in this, and so, like, you'll just attack rather than pick up the bomb, so that can get you hurt by wasting time, but whatever.
Shiver me timber.
Where are we going now, SpongeBob?
I don't know, Patrick. What do you think, Mr. Krabs?
To the Krusty Krab, everyone! For a feast like no other!
Oh, Mr. Krabs, I'm so happy.
Yee-haw! That's what I call a celebration.
Yay! Yaha! Woo-hoo-hoo! Of course, you know this is coming out of your paychecks.
Bottle. And there you have it, folks. That's Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. There's nothing else in the game. So yeah. That ending cutscene is always very strange to me, because, again, there's no music, and you can just hear all the weird sounds, it's all silent, and the boat is moving around really quickly and jarringly, and I don't know, it's just all very awkward and strange, like everything else in the game. But, I wanted to say also, regarding all the Dutchman mechanics in this, I don't know what it is. I don't have, like, a hot take on it or anything. Grant Pimpler. I like that. Dr. Galactic Floss. What the fuck? These are some names. But I do think this game may have something to say about, like, material possessions, because, like, I don't know. I don't think necessarily that, like, the writers of the game had anything in mind necessarily, but, you know, the Dutchman hypnotizes people with their favorite objects, and his powers are suppressed by objects that were important to him in his life. And so, I don't know, I feel like if you... someone, not me, could make the argument that this game has some thematic thing to say about that. The Fat Man. I always love... This is why I want to learn more about how these games are made and why I wish more information about them was available, because I want to know the backstories behind these weird nicknames and all this shit, because more so than in a lot of movie credits, in video game credits, like, you can tell there's a lot of, like, inside jokes among the crew and like present in the credits, both in how they're credited and, like, little messages and everything, and I don't know, it would just be cool to know. I mean, I'm just like a nosy little bitch. I just want to learn the backstory to everything that I like, so, like, I want to know all the details of it, because, I mean, These are human beings with lives who made this game, and, you know, there's a story behind all the decisions that were made. Nothing, well, I was about to say nothing is in a video game by accident. That's not entirely true, but I'm saying everything that's in a video game was decided to be in there, and so I'm interested in those decisions. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep in anything else because this was not much longer, but that was Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. Pretty short SpongeBob game. Another SpongeBob LP under my belt. I hope you all enjoyed watching it. I know it's a little bit of a janky game, but I hope it was interesting for those of you who didn't know much about it, and I hope it was fun to watch again for people who have played it. I hope that I had something interesting to say about it. And now I'm gonna show off some of the extras, starting with the hints and tips, which is the loudest fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, why is this so loud? I also really like this, this is basically just telling you how to play the game, which is fun. Use the reef blower in 2 of the 3 times you ever have to use it. I like this musical cue because, to my knowledge, it's only ever been in the video games. I've never heard it in the show. But it features very prominently in Employee of the Month, which, if I'm gonna LP anything else SpongeBob anytime soon, that's probably gonna be it. It's from the same year as this game, but it's one of the PC point-and-click games. It would be incredibly short. It wouldn't be like a whole LP. But, I mean, there are a bunch of other SpongeBob games. I don't really have too much of an interest in playing a lot of the other ones. But I might do, like, some of the PC or the handheld ones. Those could be fun down the line. I have to figure out how I'm going to play Employee of the Month because I don't own it. I could probably play it in my Windows XP virtual machine once I get that back and working, because I fucked it up. I don't know if I talked about that, but I would have to have a copy of it, either that I buy or I have to torrent it, and I don't know where I would get that. If anyone has a copy of Employee of the Month they want to give me, then tell me. Or a way that I can play it on Windows 10 and it not be all fucky. But yeah, this is concept art, not for the game, but for the SpongeBob show, which at first I thought this was kind of dumb, but then I remembered that at the time this came out, like, there wasn't as much, like, promotional material of SpongeBob out. Like, I had books and everything that had these drawings in them, and I've seen all of these images, like, a million times. Well, not all of them, but I've seen a lot of these images a million times. A lot of them are, like, some of the most famous images of SpongeBob at this point. Or SpongeBoy, for the most part. You can see it says Sponge Boy's home. So this is from still before 1997. It's amazing how many things ended up almost exactly the same way as in the show. I love this map of Bikini Bottom. I like Barnacle Boy with the log body. And there's my boy, Steve. R.I.P. Anyway, I don't have really much else to say, and the video's about to end, so, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you for what I do next time, which will start on Monday. So see you then.